How often do you do your T injections?
Weekly.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. When I first started, it was every other week, but there was like too much of a spike in tip.
Right.
And so just do it every week.
Yeah.
And I like stabbing my leg with a 2-inch needle.
Oh, it's so much fun. Like,
I'm a big pervert.
I put the little needle in my tummy and I'm like, yay, girl juice.
Oh, I can't do that shit. No.
Really?
I can't do the subcutaneous, the little tiny needle in my
You can do the IM, but you can't. That's so crazy.
Yeah, no, I stab my leg with a 2-inch needle once a week.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
See, I did the IM one time. It was shaking. I could not pull it off.
No, I love it. I do needle play too. So like, I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm just going to be a sicko.
Depth.
Yeah. But like, no, doing the tiny little baby needle in your tummy. I'm like, ooh.
It just hurts for a second. It's okay.
No, I just want to stab my leg. It's fine. It doesn't. I know it doesn't make sense, but
no, we are a land of contrasts.
We are,
each of us.
Yes,
and they give you the wrong needle size all the time.
They do. They certainly do. I end up with the wrong shit all the time. They actually didn't give me. They gave me syringes, but no needles this time, so I have to go back and be like, They always
give me sub-Q, and then when my injection needle, they always like forget to give me 2-inch, and they give me like 1-inch, and I'm like, this needs to go. I need it deeper. I had to be able to hold it in my leg for 10 seconds and then pull it out and the juice not leak out.
Juice not
I know
leak out
there's
is
the
big.
bullshit Z-lock bullshit that I've never been able to get down.
The what?
So you pull your skin to the side and then you do it and then you pull it out and then you go back and it creates like a this where it closes off the wound.
Yeah.
Basically. There's also like a air pocket technique so you can get everything out that gets caught in the needle, but I'm afraid of stabbing myself with air. So I don't do that. And I'm like, I'll just loops a little bit in the needle. It's fine.
Yeah. I do like a really long draw until I get like a bubble and then I slowly push it back up and the bubble goes faster than the E and escapes out.
And you want to get a little drops out because that lubes it up when it goes in your skin.
That's right.
Especially T isn't oil. I don't know if E is an oil.
E is
all
some
sorts
kind
of shit today.
Some kind of oil. I can't remember. It's called estradiol valerate. I think it has some kind of oil to it.
Testosterone cypionate.
Ooh, isn't that fun?
This has been the Trans Corner.
On the very trans episode.
Yeah. All
right. We'll do the intro. Why does everyone always laugh when I start doing the show?
Because it's a weird transition. It's like, it's cool.
That's what we're here to do. Where is my theme song? I'm Justin. I'm a Spellcom library. My pronouns are he and they.
I'm Sadie. I work IT at a public library, and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Jay. I'm a music library director, and my pronouns are he, him.
And we have a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I would. My name is Audrey. I'm a retail worker and podcaster, and my pronouns are she and they.
Yay. And you did our theme song.
I did do that. I'm also a composer. What's the chanting?
Boss,
baby. Boss baby.
Wrong guess, Justin. That's for Kyle.
Kyle's not coming on. He's friends with a baby now.
This is an anti-baby podcast. Just JK. We were the first podcast that little Labor Abbey made noises on. So, yeah. But we're also anti-natalist.
Speaking of antinatalist, we were at your sick live show where I assume nobody got pregnant because
nobody got pregnant.
There were too many gender and sexual configurations happening.
Exactly. None of it lined up for procreation. That's 100% the case. Yeah. Very queer show. As Donovan said in the midst of things, well, you listen to this show, there's a 50% chance you're trans, which I thought was the line of the night. I thought it was really funny. But yeah, good time was had by all. I hope very soon to be back in Chicago, Illinois, doing more of those fucking things. Cause like going up live and like the second my foot hit the stage, everyone fucking erupted into cheers. And I was like, fucking hold on. Let me get the music.
You fucking killed it. Like, yeah, it was so good.
I'm so happy about it. I'm still buzzing. 3 weeks later.
Yeah. And you were answering questions about, people's various quandaries, and then a segment that I like, which is bargain humpers.
Yes, we did. We do, heartfelt relationship advice and dumbass goofs. And then we like to go to the bargain bin of sex toy websites and find goofy nonsense and put it up in front of people and go, hey, look at that. The classic podcast content miner way of doing things.
Was the theme that you did all Amazon stuff?
Some of it was Amazon stuff. I think I got what did we even do? I kind of whited out in the middle of things.
There was yes, you were. There was the hungry hippos blowjob thing.
That was an Amazon pick.
Yeah.
The fidget spinner butt plug was from Extreme Restraints.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, what was the other one? Does anyone have the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. We did 3.
I think I peed at some point during that, so I don't think I think I missed one of them.
Yeah, like I said, I whited out because I was very anxious. I did not show it, but I was very much gone for much of that. I was just running on instinct.
Yeah, no pauses, no breaks. It was just bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, and it
was great.
Yeah, trying to keep up, just trying to keep up there, But we got it down.
Nice. All right, so we've got a segment today, which is we do as of 10 minutes ago when I looked on my phone, which is Reddit, Ask Reddit.
Library Reddit is an interesting space.
I see.
So this one got cross-posted onto our library. Or no, this is on our library, so it's not cross-posted. My local library accused me of pissing on the door and flashing people. Now I'm embarrassed and don't want to return what I borrowed.
Bring it back.
This is what I like this one because it sounds like one that would end up on RFTB, quite honestly.
Yeah, the relationship with your local librarian having peed on the door. Why would you accuse somebody of peeing on the door if they didn't pee on the door?
So there was a guy who pissed on the door before they opened. Apparently, I looked like him. Cops were called. A case of mistaken identity.
I see. Jacques, indeed.
So
yeah, return the stuff, do the night drop. He has to go do the night drop and then never be seen there again.
Okay, but I actually read into the comments, and he's not returning them because he's too embarrassed. He doesn't want to return them because he's pissed.
Yes, that's fair.
Valid.
Yeah. You're valid.
You're so valid.
Yeah, I actually feel really bad for this poor guy because, the library is one of the few places I actually go because I'm an anxiety-ridden agoraphobe, and some fucking chump security guard is like, hey, I thought we told you weren't supposed to be in here for pissing on the walls or whatever, in front of everybody. So, this poor dude just got... The fucking security needs to go. This is why you don't need security in your libraries. They're just embarrassing you.
He got hosed, much like the door.
Yes. You hang on to Spider-Man 2, the PS5 game, for an extra 3 weeks, buddy. I don't think anybody's really going to argue with you.
They will just buy another one. Manga.
A manga? Goodbye area manga? Goodbye area a manga?
I love the final sentence. I could still use my grandma's library card.
I guess.
Yeah, fuck this security guard. ACAB, steal Spider-Man.
ACAB includes Rent-A-Cops.
Yeah, ACAB includes library security. Yeah, no.
Spider-Man 2 is a good game on PS5. They really nailed it.
I didn't know I could rent current gen video games at my local library.
There's a lot of things you can, and you don't rent them because you don't have to pay for it. It's free.
I know. I can borrow
you pay for
them
it with your taxes, but that's what taxes are for. As they pay for it.
You're telling me that I could borrow Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon if I didn't already purchase it as a pre-order?
Probably. Maybe. If there's a physical version of it.
If there's a cool library near me that has Armored Core 6 in almost rural Kentucky, probably not.
Request a purchase. Do an interlibrary loan.
That's what I should do. I should definitely hit him up and be like, I'm trying to play Yakuza 8. Bring it in here.
Yeah, especially with the crazy way that PlayStation especially deals with physical media, because what PlayStation does is you put a disc in and then it downloads the game. anyway off the PlayStation Network, and then you take the disc out and it goes, can't play your game.
Can't play your game. You have it on the thing, but you can't play it because you don't have the disc.
So your disc just becomes a physical fob for your digital video game.
It's so cool. It's so cool. DRM's so cool, and the future's working.
So
hey, DRM.
I really was like, sometimes I still want to like buy physical PlayStation games because I'm like, well, what if I just want to like GameStop it? But then like all the GameStops near me, I think, went out of business.
Sounds right. They didn't go to the moon.
Yeah, because there's a new what is it?
Meme stock.
No, there's a new game out that's like PlayStation exclusive, but I didn't like the last one. No,
I don't know what video games are.
Call of the West. They keep giving them weird names. Forbidden Mountain.
Forbidden Mountain sounds very foreboding.
I'll show you Forbidden Mountain.
Like to climb that Forbidden Mountain. Damn.
The one where you
I
fight
don't know what that would refer to.
You fight the mechanical animals. Anyway.
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
I call it Horizon Zero Dawn because it's a cis-femme protagonist. Horizon Zero Dawn, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Yeah.
I don't know what video games are still, but I hope this person steals this one from the shitty library.
Available
Fuck
for
this library.
kissing practice on a
books.
portable Nintendo.
That's the best JBP line of all time.
That's back in his like fedora days.
He was literally wearing a fedora when he said that. It's amazing.
I've got a photo of him saying it. He's got a black jacket, a gray shirt, a blank white tie, a black fedora with a white band on it. I don't know what he's trying to. He's trying to look like a black and white film gangster, I guess. I don't know.
I get a print of that photograph and have him sign it. I want that very bad. I want that. Can you sign the white band and the fedora? Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of Reddit and information seeking, I just thought it was funny that I clicked on this link to go to this, and my recent on, not that I use Reddit, but sometimes like Quora, you have to go to it to find your answers. My 4 recent R's are R, consensual non-consent, R, sub-sanctuary, R, submissives, and R, CNC connect.
Mine are all like show research. Mine are probably boring, but
I was like,
Did you go into Sub Sanctuary after they talked about it on Quora?
Maybe.
It's where all the subs go to be mad about all the DOMs. And then they went to the Dom Reddit and everyone was having a great time. Like, man, it sure is great being a Dom.
Where are your recent ones? I want to find
It's on the left side.
It's under home. I've got my communities. Our announcements, which is funny.
Sexy.
Our audio engineering, our Dark Souls 3, our Gunlance, and our Magic TCG.
Hell yeah. the two genders.
Those who fuck and those who game.
Mine are like our Ask Reddit and like our like creepy threads.
Okay.
I like to read like the Ask Reddit, but like the creepy ones, like the like what's the weirdest shit you've ever seen happen in real life kind of like.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I like to, especially during spooky season, I like to go through and read a bunch of those and then find the good ones and then read them aloud to people.
Yeah,
There's
I
some
follow the
wild
2
shit
sentence
in there.
horror one, but like on Twitter where it posts the screenshots of the 2 sentence horror.
What's your favorite 2-sentence horror?
Oh God, I always love the unhinged ones where like the second sentence has like nothing to do with the first sentence and just like throws some wild shit in there. It's like, but little did they know that it just like throws in whatever scary thing in the last bit, and it just like doesn't connect. Like they don't do anything clever.
The Andersons were on a picnic in the park. The xenomorph. Little did they know the xenomorph.
Yeah, like shit like that. Those are always the ones that I love. What are you squinting?
Justin, what are you looking at?
For some reason on like the front page of Reddit, there's an R Libraries one, and it's like, we're finally banning the problem bathroom guy.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, this is just like someone complaining about a homeless dude using the bathroom. But then I get to the second paragraph because they're like, we talk United Way. We're trying to get him clothes. We're trying to get him granola bars. He's a young guy, whatever. And then I get to the second paragraph. Shortly after he started coming, someone started pooping behind the dumpster every single day. It's like, That took such a turn.
There's somebody who's been doing that at one of our libraries. They shit in front of the staff door like every night.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just got to get one of them grabbers. You know what I mean? One of the like old folks grabbers. And just go and
or like the doggy bags.
The dog bags.
That too. Yeah. Yeah. The things we deal with in living. We live in a motherfucking society. That's for sure.
We sure do.
Librarians deal with some bodily fluids.
That's so weird.
Deeply
I wonder if you
unfortunate.
deal with more or less than when I was a bouncer. Like there was a lot of vomit mopping and piss cleanup, but I wonder if librarians have to do more than like a bouncer at a club.
I would much rather hire a library bouncer than a library cop.
Yes, for sure.
I want a cooler at a library, like higher Peaceways and Roadhouse.
You
know,
you need a
and like
22-year-old.
hot.
You need a
Who's the guy's
22-year-old
face?
with a ponytail and a security T-shirt to walk around, like check X's at the library.
Who's the hot old guy in that? That's in also Big Lebowski, and he takes the ponytail out at one point, and I'm like, whoo! I forget his name. It's like Sam something.
Yeah, it's in the.
I'm gonna say Sam Neill.
I wanted to say the two, but isn't that the Jurassic Park guy?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say too.
Now I
I'm
want
like,
him to
that's
have
Jurassic-
like a cool gray ponytail.
Yeah, because he's hot too.
Yeah, Sam Neill ponytail.
Yeah, surely
Samuel
he's had one.
ponytail Rule 34.
I'm sure it's happened.
just adding Rule 34 on the end of any random Google search. This is what Chuck Tingle probably does and gets ideas for Tinglers.
We'll have to ask him.
Fucking
That's
AI
actually
porn.
a good idea.
Sam Neill
Yeah.
with a ponytail. Everything
Sam
else
Neill.
is normal.
Is Sam Neill Australian? Because he is
Yes.
New Zealand.
He looks incredibly Australian in this one photograph that I found of him.
He's
I
from New
thought you were gonna
Zealand.
do a joke like, because he can get my Dan under.
Yeah, yay.
All right. Break it up.
Too much fun.
That was Reddit.
Boo.
All right. So I wanted to do this is our library.
This was my
is our
idea, motherfucker.
Valentine's. This is our Valentine's episode. We wanted to do a Valentine's episode.
Here I am.
And finally I thought we need to bring a queer person on this podcast to talk about information seeking behaviors of queer people. And so we've reached out.
Our powers combined.
This was my idea. Stop stealing my valor.
Who wrote the notes?
You did, but it was my idea.
I'm going to get this document pulled up. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So, but I started looking for things because Jay has done research on information seeking behaviors of queer people before. And I was interested in particularly like, what are the Zoomers up to? What are the kids doing who are like,
yeah. Are they all right? The kids.
Yeah. Are they
all
okay?
Right?
What happened during the like quarantine?
These
to their
unprecedented
behaviors? Yeah.
The great ADHD transiting.
Everyone trans to their gender.
Yeah. I have a friend who has a really cool theory about that, is that you spend just a couple months away from the strictures of society and what other people expect of you, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I don't have to do any of that shit. Like,
I was interviewed in an article about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you're literally watching society crumble around you, like at that point, it's like, fuck, if I want to go transgender, why not?
Yeah, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen?
What are they going to do to me?
Away.
Yeah.
I get new interactions with doctors.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kelvin Kalsike wrote about the experience of trans people during quarantine, both like people who transitioned before and also people who transitioned during.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the people he interviewed for that.
Sick.
Because my dysphoria got worse during quarantine.
I discovered that I had it in the first place during quarantine.
I had already started transitioning, but
I did Face App because that was like a Facebook trend. I did the Face App thing and saw myself, and then instantly went and shaved off this big fucking dysphoria beard that I had had for years, and went and did another one so I could get a better picture, and went, wait a second, why did I remove this part of that had been part of my affect for years? Why did I remove that so I could see myself better as a feminine oh no.
No, I do love hearing people's stories where they're just like, I don't think it'll ever be me, but I just think they're neat.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to watch Velvet Goldmine and be like, if I were a guy, I would want to look like that, but I'm not a guy, so oh well.
Right. We're like hearing stories about transgender people and being like, wow, I wish I was transgender because then I could feel
That's a very cis thought to have.
I could be allowed to feel all of these feelings I have if I was trans.
Absolutely normal
Golly
behavior
gee
for a cis
willikers.
person.
Golly gee. Yeah, everyone feels that way, right? Damn.
Hot dog.
Yeah. I'm legitimately the only one person in the Post Ponies Discord who is just like, yeah, I do just think they're neat. I did some soul searching.
Person in there.
No, but I don't think so. I might. I don't know. Give it time. You know what? Just wait. Just wait. We'll find out.
Hold on. This is pending further investigation.
I mean, this is basically what happened on my Tumblr was everyone just transitioned between 2015 and 2019. Yep. And I was like, cool. I'm following, like, I didn't have to change anyone I followed, but it was just that meme of the guy talking to porn bots. And it's just like, I don't know what's going on with you. Hello, ladies. Just following a bunch of politics dudes who transitioned. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is.
Although Instagram is still convinced I'm trans, and it's like, do you want underwear that truly fits your body? I'm like, yeah, but this won't work.
I think there are other reasons why Instagram is giving you those ads.
Yeah, I've been getting them for years.
Oh, okay.
You're getting ads for Pepper, getting the Pepper bras ads.
I'm getting ads for the thing that Jay always talks about, his little travel needle thing.
Oh, sure.
I'm getting ads for those now.
Those are so cute. I want one so fucking bad.
It's so good. It's fucking life-changing. Look at this goddamn shit. It's like, it's advertised to trans dudes, but it's for anybody who uses needle-based medication.
Yeah.
Heroin users.
Yeah, exactly.
If you like do injectable drugs of any kind,
right,
legal or otherwise, this is very nifty.
Yeah, you need something stylish and transportable for your needs, whatever your needs may be.
Yeah, you can like stick it like your vials like in here. It's got all these different little pockets.
It's awesome.
I love little pockets. Yeah. Shouts out to the Stealth Bros and Co.
Stealth
Bros also sounds like a trans porno collective.
Yeah, it's a black trans men.
Hell yeah,
company. Yeah,
I'm just saying. It just sounds like what's the one? Jock Pussy. That's the one.
Jock Pussy.
Such a good
I always
name.
think of
Such a good name.
And that there's like two trans guys that are always in Jock Pussy.
Ari Coyote, and I can't remember the other one's name.
The guy that's got the fucking Aries tattoo.
Yep.
Yeah, him.
I love the intimate level of knowledge the two of you had of this.
Well,
I'm just like, yeah, it's the two dudes from Jock Pussy, right? You're just like, oh yeah.
Listen,
Kevin.
They're slim pickings. There's a reason I watch straight porn.
Yeah,
it's because the gay trans porn on Pornhub sucks.
It's true.
Anyway,
there is a lot of trans femme pornography available, but much of it makes me feel bad to be the person that I am.
Actually, that's a perfect tie-in. I can't believe we got here.
Hell yeah!
Wow,
so we're gonna have like
look at us,
because this is like our first bullet point, which is because we're like thinking about like info-seeking behavior of queer people, but particularly trans people. At least, it just kind of came out that way. And Anna Valence had a video recently about like puta porn and the depiction of the trans feminine body in media and just like erotica, and like how it came from like this sort of fetish thing in Japan to becoming like a trans woman thing in the United States, where people are like, oh yeah, I could see myself in this. It's like, well,
puta porn also helped me realize I was trans too.
Yeah, like what if I just had a big
that would be neat.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so hentai just made me want to have a second penis.
So you could do the Donald Trump dance to yourself.
Oh yeah,
do the thing where you're like,
yeah. So I see the first bullet. Yeah, I see the first bullet point question is like, what was our first time that we encountered a trans body that wasn't porn? Can you be more specific about trans body? Are we talking about naked, or are we talking about like a trans person in general?
Trans person. I was just using body in the academic sense.
Sure. My first experience meeting a transgender person in the wild, in real life, I was working at the Renaissance Festival, and there was a woman who was like on the younger end and kind of just figuring things out, I think, and maybe transvestite never really spoke to her, but she was met with widespread ridicule among many of the people that I was close to. And I felt awful for her. Like, I was like, that's really shitty that you would try to go to ostensibly a place where you could feel safe and accepted among, because a bunch of freaks in the Renaissance Festival, why the fuck not me? But like, she's like, lots of jokes. And that I think kind of pushed a lot of shit down for a long time for me. And I'm like, well, you will be the subject of ridicule if you are to express yourself in that way. And so that kind of put me back in a few years.
I remember being in like middle school and watching like daytime television in the summer, and there was like a trans woman on who was just like talking about herself and her experiences. And she was one of those like, oh, it doesn't make sense for us to be lumped in with lesbians and gay people because I'm a straight woman, like, and all this stuff. And I was this is why Lou Sullivan's so important, because it's like the whole establishment was like, trans people can't be also gay. And Lou Sullivan was like, cool, all right. But I was very deeply religious. But this whole like, oh, this was just a person, wrong body, and fixed it, and they're straight, and that's fine. Like, I never had like a bad, like, negative connotation for that. And then by the time that I started exploring my own gender because of Tumblr, and then I started reading futa porn, I was like, that sounds neat. And then I like sort of considered myself genderqueer since like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
But like in the flesh person, probably college. And like that was when there was a lot of like trans, like one of the big trans masculine waves on like Tumblr. And this was in like 2011 and stuff like that time period. I feel like there's a lot of like trans masks, like former dykes out like coming out of the woods. And I met one, but did not know that I was one yet.
That's such a fun experience when you're like, it's almost like meeting yourself from the future.
Yeah.
If only they knew. Speaking of people knowing, my girlfriend in college no-scoped me from a decade back. Like, it was literally like 10 years ago. She just goes, so what's your gender identity? We had just been to a panel on transgender identity and like just people talking about their experiences. She goes, so what's your gender? And I go, what do you mean? What do you mean, what's my gender?
What's my gender?
They dropped my voice an octave. What do you mean, what's my gender? And she's like, no, really think about it. What's your gender? And I'm like, well, I'm sitting here. I'm 6 feet tall. I got broad shoulders. I got big hands. And I got a deep voice. What's my gender? And she's like, no, think about it. Take a second. And I go, well, fine. I've never been attached to a masculine identity for even half a second in my entire life. But look at me. I'm a guy. And she goes, okay. And just kind of drops it. And then we never spoke of it again. And then 10 years later, she messages me on Discord and goes, congrats on the gender.
With my first girlfriend, when we would have sex, I used to like be able to like, and we didn't like use a strap or anything, but I'd be like, we'd even just be like clothes on, just like making out stuff. And I'd be like, I can feel myself having a dick. Can you feel it? Like, very, very, very girly feelings.
Yeah,
not like cis girly feelings to have.
Like
very,
having a wiener.
Very cis girl feelings to have.
Yeah,
of like, oh God, I feel like I have a dick and I'm penetrating you right now. Isn't it so hot and romantic? And I love you so much. Oh, isn't this intense and wonderful? And then I would like cry anytime I used a strap because I couldn't feel it.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, I don't know what these feelings are.
Zany.
I'm just stone butch, I guess. I'm gonna Leslie Feinberg this shit. Just kidding. JK.
Use a stone butch as such a mirror universe, Jay.
I know. I was really bad at it. I was a top.
He said, lying.
He said, I was. I promise.
Yeah. There was a time when I was ostensibly there was a time when I was ostensibly a 6 foot tall dude with long hair, so everyone was like, that's a dom, and I was like, nope, not really.
All right, let me get the step ladder. Just imagining me having to dom someone 6 feet tall.
Well, you put me on my fucking knees. That's how you do it. You get me on my fucking knees, Justin.
No, I've got some ideas for standing.
We're supposed to be standing.
I was talking to another Dom. I was getting ideas.
Climb like a tree, like literally.
Oh yeah. Stance up, motherfucker. I'm going up.
All right, brace.
Like when they test when you do katas and karate and you like tense up and they hit you like
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I did karate. That's
I did
shit and
martial arts for a long time. Very masculine.
Yeah.
Very masculine thing that I did.
I think first trans person I was exposed to in any way would have been like probably just some story about like a trans man giving birth on like the news or whatever, or on like TLC kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Trans dad. But honestly, the first person who like, and I'd be like, huh, okay. But the first time I really like had to think about it was probably like Eddie Izzard's stand up.
Yeah.
And that's like transvesticism. Of course, she's like girl mode now, but like at the same time, it's like it's still a transing of presentation.
Yeah.
And she was explaining
the male lesbian thing was very telling with her.
What's going on?
Yeah. I said that a lot. Said that a number of times.
Yeah. Twitter is reheated 5-year-old Tumblr discourse, and Tumblr discourse is reheated Eddie Izzard jokes from 10 years before. The whole she no-scoped he him lesbian discourse.
Oh Lord.
I remember being on a Trash Future stream one time, and they were just all talking about something. And Milo Edwards, who's a straight guy, was like, well, surely there aren't he, him lesbians. And everyone and the chat, everyone stopped what they were doing and went, Milo, no.
Milo, no, you did it.
Milo, no.
You said the activation phrase.
Shouts out to the he, him lesbians.
That's fucking funny. Shouts out to the bisexual trans lesbians.
Woo!
That's right.
Hell yeah.
We're a strong contingent. We hold a lot of ground, actually.
Yeah.
I was reading that one article talking about the percentage, I was talking with some coworkers while I was reading the one article because I do pod work at work, which feels good.
Good. Steal time.
Steal time. Simply must. And one of my coworkers was like, how many people are trans? And I was like, well, let me tell you, not that fucking many. And yet they like make this huge fucking deal. Something like 330 million Americans and 1.3% or 1.3 million identify as trans in the United States, something like that. Get off my dick. Why are you so mad? There's not even that many of us.
I can't help it that I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's jealousy.
It's gotta be.
That's a good protest sign for trans women.
Get off my dick. Yeah, for sure. That's such a good. Yep. I'm going to bring that to the state house.
Just get up. Thank you for speaker for letting me have this time. Can I just say that Learning Council, I would like you to get off my dick.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it just goes viral on Twitter. It's like, yeah. So one of these articles I read, and because of like the horrible delay in academic publishing, this first one that I looked at from 2022 was actually, the surveys were done before the pandemic. So they were all from like 2019. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because they got mostly trans boys and men as their subject sample, which they weren't trying to do. Like they just were like, ended up that way. But they were talking about like how they talk about, so they sorted them into those with dating experience and those with no dating experience, which is very interesting because they would talk about like concerns about the ones with dating experience would be like, don't use the apps. It's just not going to work for you right now.
Jaded 18-year-olds.
Well, it's just like legality. They're like, we're 18. If you're under 18, please don't be on these apps.
Yeah, for real.
Also concerned about ending up in long distance relationships. Minors without dating advice gave more general advice. Be yourself, which is good. Good advice, I guess.
Kind of got to be. Everyone else is taken, as they say.
Those with experience and without both, they both advise not going too fast online. Don't know if they're getting that information from like their general sex ed or just talk on the playground. These are children. I don't know how old children. When do children stop using playgrounds? Like 35?
I stop. I'm going to try to stop next week.
There were some really interesting questions that I thought I pulled more than this, but these were kind of like radio free tote bag questions. I thought I would pull them in here because participants had several questions about safety and trust, which focused on how and when to trust others and how to protect one's personal safety during online partner seeking. One question was, how does sex work before surgery? Do we use a strap on? This trans boy. Mm-hmm. Do we use strap on, or do we just not have sex at all? Or do we just do things like kiss our partners? I would feel uncomfortable having sex with a vagina when I want a penis.
Fair enough.
So if you got that in Radio Free Tote Bag.
Well, I mean,
there's also that really good. So I know that there's the infamous fucking trans women zine, and there's not quite the same equivalent with trans men, but there is this one, I forget who put it out, but this one like pamphlet online that's about men who want to have sex with trans men. And so it's like how trans men can have like gay sex. And it's like things about like what kinds of lubes to use, and like things about like PrEP and PAP, things about birth control, things about fisting, stuff like that. And that was interesting. But I also have a feeling that a lot of trans men who are maybe older teenagers just starting out are maybe having sex with cis women, and hand stuff. That was going to
be my answer. It's like, it's basically do what you feel comfortable with, do what feels natural to you, and fondling each other's shit is a pretty natural outgrowth of like getting into bed with somebody in a sexual context. So hand stuff's a strong contender for
your clitoris is a little dick.
It's a little wiener. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good to have.
Yeah. So it's called Prime, the Back Pocket Guide for Trans Men and the Men Who Dig Them.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. It's very general.
It's not quite got the esoteric like fingering the tubes channels that fucking trans women has.
Which, by the way, I don't know. I don't know if I would like that a whole lot.
I've tried
I did that to a girl who had I did that to a girl who had an orgy.
Ooh, I bet I would like it more if I had an orgy. If I had an orgy, then I probably would.
She told me to do it, like pretend her like the rest of her ball sack that was still there was like a vulva kind of.
Sure.
And then you could just be like.
Okay, maybe I'm on team do that now.
Yeah, as soon as I get like she told me to do that, so it seemed like better once she had an orgy.
Sure.
You know when you get those little tabs, you pull off the plastic shopping bags and you stretch them and you make a whistle.
Yeah.
Do that with a scrotum. Is that what you're
if someone was really into like scrotal torture, do you think you can get it thin enough?
See if you get it go.
Because vulvas and labia are like too thick, I think.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the vulva / labia.
If you had
Justin's really thinking this through.
Yeah. If you're on hormones.
Yeah.
Skin textures could be a little different.
That's true.
Yes, it is.
And you grip it hard enough, but I mean hard enough.
It's quite thick.
Don't grip it hard enough.
Some people are into things.
Mine is quite thick. Mine is quite thick. Not everyone's is.
That's true.
Vulvas are a wide tapestry.
I'm talking about ball skin right now.
Ball skin.
When they do,
I'm gonna start working on my flexibility
for trans guys. They turn the vulva, like the labia, they turn that into the ball sack, and they put little implants in there because that's what the same skin is. The vulva, like the labia, is what the scrotum is.
Yeah,
it's the same skin.
We, all penis havers, we have a seam from what used to be our situation down there. It used to be a more open format kind of situation than it is right now.
Yeah,
open source.
Same type of skin. Yeah, same type of skin.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Mm-hmm.
Should you put little Bluetooth speakers in there instead?
Yeah,
I probably could
do that. That would be really cool.
Because I don't want full bottom surgery. I quite like my downstairs situation.
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't want it sealed up or anything. I don't want testicles. I would put a little Bluetooth down there. That sounds fun.
Like the kind that like pick up energy off of like movement.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jump a couple of times to recharge.
You just jiggle them around a little bit to yeah. No, this is great. We're breaking new ground.
We're cooking.
This is some Don Haraway shit.
Open source genitals.
That's what I'm hoping for. Like, I hope biotech advances far enough that I could just like hot swap my shit. That, like, if I want a wiener one day, I can have it. If I want a vagina the next day, I can have that. That would be the dream.
I saw porn with a trans guy who had a phalloplasty but kept his pussy.
Sure.
And I was like, you can do that?
You can do that?
And then it like changed my whole life.
Yeah, there's phallus preserving vaginoplasty for trans women as well. So I'm like, what if I could keep my shit and get
I want to keep my shit. I want to keep my shit, but I want the I want the bonus.
Yes, I want bone. I want more. I want
You want the
more.
bonus?
I want
I
more
want the
genitals. Is really
I want
what it
the
is.
both.
I don't want to change
the
the ones
both
I
of
have. I
them.
want more.
Yes, some of the addition, please. An add-on. That's a word.
Browser extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really are the ones that the right warned everybody about, aren't we? We're the
Exactly.
And if you
It's
listen
the-
to this podcast, you will become one too.
yeah.
It's the Cyborg Manifesto, but it's like teledildonics is the main focus.
I mean, that's just the Cyborg Manifesto.
I found
Yeah,
it difficult to read.
Well, skill
That's why we
issue.
did an episode on it. You read it.
Thank you. Yeah.
As I say, it's in English, isn't it?
Me and Donna Haraway, we're
That's not.
I
You
don't-
saw some of
I
these
always-
articles.
I know. I always make that joke whenever somebody says something was hard to read. I'm like, it's in English, isn't it? What's the problem?
Yeah. There were some other questions in here. I don't know if they made an appendix of like the questions. No, I hate when journal articles
me
are
a
so
table.
outdated.
Give me a table with the questions you asked. That's a good journal article in your method
Yeah.
section. You
Or
know?
just don't write a journal. Just
Give
publish
me
your
an
data, and I'll make the conclusions.
give me an appendix. I love when I did my master's thesis. I put the questions in an appendix.
Important.
Yeah. So they had lots of questions. So if you could ask a more experienced LGBTQ teen for advice about looking for LGBTQ partners, what would you want to ask them? And so they coded it into like 3 different ones. So one is strategies for relationship seeking. So how do you find gay guys who would date a trans man?
They're out there. But also, so this is real. So in my experience, and this is just my own personal experience, I find that particularly gay trans men are more concerned with dating cis men, particularly cis gay men, than trans women are, especially if the trans women are lesbians. I feel like trans women are more open to T for T than trans men are. For example, I am not T for T because it often gives me dysphoria if like the times I've had sex with trans men. I fucked trans women and it was very fun, but they were like friends, so it wasn't like a
Sure.
sexual attraction thing. It was just like, hey, you want to fuck? Yeah, sure. It was great. And there's this sort of like, oh, if a gay man wants to fuck me, then I must
Yeah.
really be a guy.
Right.
Like there's like this gender validation where like I just like I don't know if I've seen trans women have publicly expressed that kind of neuroses as much.
Yeah.
Because
don't
I
know.
totally have this neuroses as well.
I feel like
So I completely get this.
I feel like we get more of our gender validation in the ways in which we are fucked over generally as women. Like we get our gender validation by not having pockets and spending more on deodorant. You know what I mean? Like we don't need it necessarily in a sexual context. And it's just like, I don't know, for me, dating T for T, it's sort of like, oh, you get the same downstairs mix up I do. And you're fucking hot. You're like a hot lady. I'm looking at you and you're a hot lady and you've got the same shit going on as me. Then maybe I'm a hot lady. Let's do this. Like that's kind of how I
Yeah.
feel about it.
Yeah. Seeing
Yeah.
like yourself in someone else.
Yes. And that's been a big thing with like finding identity and like finding my divine feminine, if I may use that fucking mystical ass term.
Ursula K. Le Guin just like jumps through your window and drop kicks you.
Kicks my teeth out of my head. But like, it's like, do I want to date her? Do I want to be her thing? You know what I mean? Like that's a
Yeah.
very much a part of this whole journey that I think a lot of us are on. So yeah, do I want to date her? Do I want to be her? The answer is yes. I want to do both. And I
That
am.
was a breakthrough. Then I
Yeah.
had it's the both actually.
Yeah.
Because I was like, am I actually gay now? Or is this just guys I think are hot and I want to look like that? No, I'm just gay. But yeah, I mean, the one week that I went on Grindr in the very beginning of the pandemic, I have nothing against Grindr. I'm just not necessarily like a seeking out hookups person. If I
Same.
go to a bar, I have hooked up with people at bars before, but I don't necessarily seek hookups on an app. I'm horny, but I can masturbate very well. So I don't necessarily need that.
Right.
But like when I was on Grindr, it was very obvious. And I know there's a lot of discourse around chasers and if they're bad or not. And I will just say
uses,
like,
I'll say that's how I feel about them.
They have their uses. But it was very obvious when a guy was attracted to me and found it very hot that I had a pussy and was sexually attracted to that, and a guy who only focused on that to the point where I was just a pussy attached to a person.
Right. Yes. Fetishizing the genitalia versus
like I want my genitalia fetishized, but in the context of also liking the rest of me.
Right. I need that.
You know,
I need that too.
Like I like my transness to be something that is arousing to people.
Yes.
I don't want it hand waved over. I want someone to be like, it is very hot that your body is this way, and I like that your body does this thing and looks this way.
We had a good conversation about that with Left at London when she came on. When she came on.
I love her.
She's great. She was a lot of fun. We had a really good discussion about chasers and that end of things. And that's basically where we came to in that discussion. It was like, as long as you're not solely there for my genitals, then I'm okay.
Yeah. I want like I especially like when I would like read like fanfic or something. I hate the whole like, oh, I don't care what you have. It's wonderful no matter what. Like sure, but I want someone to be like, it is so fucking hot that you're set up is exactly
you are
the way
a guy with that setup.
I like that it does like that is to me is better, and some people would maybe consider that chasery, and if it is, then fuck it, whatever. But
maybe more the like the acknowledgement of the gender of the person first, followed by a hotness of their genitals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say that like I've actually had like more success on like Tinder and stuff. Like I had an ex I was with for quite a long time that I met on Tinder. You don't have to limit yourself to bi guys or to gay guys, trans guys. Bi guys are there. Every guy I've dated since coming out has been bi. So like bi guys are great. And I used to be very insecure about that when I first started transitioning. I'm like, well, if are they only okay with my setup because they're also into girls, and so that's why they're okay with my pussy? Like I had that hang up, and that's just like a personal hang up you got to get over.
Right.
And it's okay to feel that way, right? Like
you know what? I do worry about that with bi girls specifically. It's like, are they like yeah.
It's like would they be okay with fucking me if they weren't also into the other gender,
into my stuff,
But like I feel like trans men who are into men feel like, oh, if I can't get a gay guy, then
what are we even fucking doing here?
What am I fucking doing here? It's like, no, like and just because a guy is bi doesn't, like, I always ask, like, I'm always like, hey, by the way, I'm trans, is that okay? Because sometimes people are still weird about it, but most times they're like, yeah, that's fine.
But I give a shit.
Yeah, it's great. So I would say just do what you would normally do. and then a guy will find you.
I
don't know. Yeah. I would say like having been a person who's had sex with men as a woman and as a man, like it's very obvious when a guy, like now that I'm a man who has sex with men, the way that men who see me as a man interact with my body.
Yeah.
Even when I'm as like a bottom, right? Like even as someone who's like bottoming, like the way that they like interact with my downstairs is like different than the way that men would interact with it when I was living as a woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like that's like it's very easy to tell if when you were having sex with someone what they see you as.
Yeah, how they think of you. Because like getting head as a guy from a guy was a fucking nightmare for me. Because it's just like, it's just all suction and speed and just like, I'm like, what the, why does it feel this way? I hate this. And then they like, I feel like guys take their time more with my body and like are more careful with me. in a way that I really enjoy, actually.
Yeah. I remember once with an ex, he was like, I know you said that like wearing the strap made you dysphoric. So I never asked if you would wear it even when I was fucking you. Like not asking me to fuck him. But he's like, would you wear it so I could like suck you off and like fuck you while you're wearing it? And I was like, yes. And like that was like a really like, because he was like, listen, I love having sex with you so much, but I miss cock a little. Like I want, you know, I'd be like, well, I got right here, like I want right here. And it was like great, like having like him go down on me while I had like a strap on. Like it's very obvious, and like I know that especially if you are a trans guy who still uses your downstairs mix up, and that it can like feel like, oh no, I'm getting eaten out, or I'm like, you know, like it can be like, oh, how is this different? But like I don't know, it's there's vibe checks around when someone is
That's why this is so difficult to talk about without getting into like really detailed, like this is how I am treated in these circumstances, like because it's all very vibes based. It's not academic, baby. It's deeper.
It's vibes based. Yeah, I don't know. And like I had never had sex as a man. Well, I had sex when I started transitioning, but I didn't think I was a guy yet. I was in a non-binary nebulous phase, and I'm still binding. And both of those times were with women, and it was weird. And that's what made me realize I wasn't into women anymore. And I didn't have sex with a guy until I had already had top surgery. So I don't know that experience of like having the chest interacted with.
Yeah.
As a man, because I'm flat now.
Sure.
But because I was like, I don't want to have sex until I'm at least got these chopped off.
Right.
You know?
I had been with a guy who was early in his transition when I was like, the egg had just cracked, and I'm like, okay, I think I know what my name is, but I haven't changed anything else. Like I didn't even
know what my name was.
I'm gonna buy some clothes, I guess, is what's next. But do you want to get Indian food and fuck? And he's like, yeah. And at one point he's like wearing a binder, and he goes, this thing is uncomfortable as fuck. Can I take this off? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so he takes the binder off, and they're there. And I like boobs a lot. And I was like, can I? And he goes, what? And I go, can I play with your boobs? And he's like, I mean, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool, good. And I did that, and it was good and cool. But like, I tried to like
nipples are fun and great.
Yeah, I tried to treat them like masculine nipples. Do you know what I mean? Like the way you would engage with masculine nipples, despite the fact that they're on
not female presenting
feminine
nipples.
breasts. Yeah, exactly.
Ask him about the game.
See them jaguars, and you're just like.
Ask him how that deck's coming along.
Yeah, no, I would do a sports bra before I had top surgery. The times that I had sex, I just put a sports bra on instead so that I wasn't dying.
Yes, so that it wasn't like hell.
Because I was a 36 double G, and I would bind. That was not comfortable. So when I had sex, I had a sports bra.
Jay
I was like,
double
no.
G's.
You were huge. It was not fun.
No, I imagine that sounds awful. Tell me what it's like to have giant boobs, because I want to know.
They weren't very full, so they didn't look good when I was naked. They were just like flat almost, and like they lived in my armpit when I was laying down. I once had an ex said that the texture was like pizza dough.
Oh
yeah!
Don't say things like that to another person.
I know. I still have like really bad stretch marks. I think I damaged, and I have like bad connective tissue.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that probably didn't help.
I'm trying to they're okay. Doing okay. They're homegrown. Yeah. I'm doing okay with what I got going on.
Seriously, if there was anything, it would be like, if there could just be like a titty exchange.
Yeah.
I like so many like of like the trans women I've like known or been friends with. It's just like I know so many people. It's like, if you could just literally transfer from like the trans man or the non-binary person who doesn't want them to the woman who just really fucking wants them, like that would be Scientists get on it.
Scientists
It
for
would be
real.
life-changing, I'm sure.
Yeah. Should be able to just go down and pick some up, like slap them on. I'd love that.
Yeah, I remember like I first had made the appointment to get a reduction instead of getting them chopped off because I wasn't sure. I was like, but what if I get them chopped off and I want them back? And eventually I was like, you know what? If down the road, if I want it back, I'll just get implants or something.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
That's the worst case scenario. Yeah, I kind of had that too. I was like, okay, so I'm going to start E, and what if I grow boobs and I hate them? And it's like, well, you can just get a mastectomy, worst case scenario.
To get them lipoed out.
Yeah, just get them done. Just slurp them out.
They just literally do lipo.
That's wild.
They just cut it and they lipo it and then they like contour it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah. My experience has been a lot of joy. My favorite thing is like the big concern among right wingers is like, yeah, but what if you regret it? It's like regret feeling at home in my body for the first time in my entire life. Yeah, I might regret that at some point. You fucking chuds.
Also, like,
and if I
do you know the rate for knee surgery? The regret rate for knee surgery is like 15 fucking %.
Right.
Like, it's wild. The elective surgeries that people are like, you'll regret it. No, it's like,
you know what the regret rate for children is?
Oh my God.
100%. No, I like, also it's like if I was able to like mod my body already, can't I not just mod it again?
Right. Your body is a malleable
It's
plastic
malleable.
thing. Yeah. You can do stuff to
I am
it.
but flesh.
Yeah. Fucking A. And your
And that's
gender
why I'm going to
is-
get that
is-
second dick.
There you go. Trace your bliss. Phallus
Make all your
preserving
dreams come true.
phalloplasty.
You
Okay.
get the same like scar on your forearm that
Yeah.
trans guys get because
You
they
just
grow their
get a
dick
bonus.
from their forearm.
You get a bonus. You got to inflate
But
it.
did any
Yeah.
of you actually see the Reddit thread of the dude who actually had 2 dicks?
Yeah.
on
I have,
Quora.
of course. Classic.
Okay, good. Because like that was some A+ content there.
I have
was
2
like,
dicks.
this is
AMA.
fascinating.
Fuck, yes.
Like, I have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I'm like, yeah,
King shit.
seriously, I want that life.
Yeah.
All right. Jay actually sent me something from earlier, which I thought was an interesting question and more library related than a lot of the stuff I was looking at. So there's this researcher called Rothbauer, and she was doing research back in 2004 on like her master's thesis and was focused on like this research that she did with a sample of 17 lesbians between the ages of 18 and 23, specifically who like to read. And
So
her
a
whole
lesbian.
thing, I assume there's gamer lesbians or something.
Hi.
That involves reading.
You got Dark Souls. What'd you say to June?
Yeah. You got a PS4, and she said, and Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, that was it. That was so Riz.
It's me.
That was Riz. That was amazing.
That's me.
Right on stage too, in a performance, killing it.
Yeah. Hey. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you got shoot or shoot.
Yeah, shooters gotta shoot.
Anyway, I thought it was really interesting. Some of the things from this research that she pulled from her thesis, which was like fanzines and online sites, especially around like Buffy, because Buffy had a very early lesbian relationship. But it was funny because most of the respondents were like, no, I'm attracted to Buffy. The Willow thing's interesting, but I want to fuck Buffy. Which was very funny.
That is funny. She's hot coded.
Yeah.
In a
anyway,
way that,
yeah,
I found Willow
Rothbauer
really hot.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen Vampire Willow? Come on.
Yeah, come on. I was more of a Willow girl, personally, actually.
I can see that.
Yeah. She's just like me for real.
She's just like you for real.
But a research.
That's why you dress like that.
Hey, I mean, you've seen me. I dress like I honestly do dress like Willow, if I'm to be perfectly honest.
You need to get the big overalls too.
Style icon. Yeah, I should get the big overalls. But that's NB coded. But I guess I am NB transfemme. Like, I do consider myself non-binary to a certain degree.
It's also Mario coded.
That's true.
So, I mean, don't worry about it.
I get to do the hands.
Yeah. But anyway, her research is really interested on like the process of reading and what reading, how it interacts. Because one of the theories of reading is like reading fiction is an escape for queer people. And her thing is like, no, actually reading is community building and self-discovery for lesbians who are reading in this group. So I had some questions just kind of based on like her, because she doesn't come back to this like specific queer aspect. She keeps focusing in her career on like, what is reading time? Like, how do you interact with the passage of time when you're reading, like stuff like that. So what'd you find? What did you do for reading and finding yourself? Was reading an escape or was it recognition? Did you build community by reading?
Much of the reading that I did was specifically of like trans autobiography in the form of like social media posts. So that was very much like self-discovery. That was like I said, she just like me for real, like reading about women's experience of discovering their gender and then rediscovering their sexuality in the context of that gender and going, wow, okay, so this is all ahead of me. I'm so fucking stoked.
Yeah, I remember being in high school, and I will include movies in this as well, but like the books and movies that I got into in high school when I started getting into queer stuff, it was not about escape. I have never been an escapist type of person with fiction. It was very much about discovery of either like watching or reading things that were like an established, not finding myself or what I could be in them, but knowing that this movie or book was like something that queer people liked. And so I would watch it or read it and then was like, oh, now I'm a little bit more into this community. I know this reference now. I like this thing that these other people like it's like learning a language.
100%.
Almost like that aspect of community building. That's why I have like the tastes of like someone in the like 80s or 90s or something. Like I just watch like Todd Haynes films and Derek Jarman movies. And like I don't know about fucking any of these like trans girly pop stars that y'all listen to now. Like I'm like, no, I just want to watch Blue on repeat and watch Hedwig, you know.
I mean, I want to redo
or Bound.
I want to redo Rocky Horror, but like all of the songs are hyper pop somehow. I think that would be.
I saw Rocky Horror in 5th grade.
Well, that did it.
Yeah, that did it. It's been my favorite movie ever since. I've got a tattoo. I was Frank in college.
I seen it.
Yeah, but yeah. So for me, it was very much about not escape and not even recognition of myself, but of learning a language of like a shared like cultural memory.
That's so
kind of thing.
That's so hot.
Is what it was. Yeah. Although I did also read like, and this is when I thought I was like a dyke too. So I did read like Middlesex. And I was like, this is making me feel things that I don't understand why. Oh no, I'm very mad that she decided to be a boy at the end. Why does this make me and like just being weird about it. And then I got really into like lesbian pulp fiction in grad school and shit.
Yeah.
Like I like own like Bebo Brinker and all that. But yeah, I mainly got into stuff that like gay dudes liked, and then I like a lot of the movies, and then also like Bound, and like I love Bound. I own Bound on VHS, like a screener copy of Bound.
Damn.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, or like I got into Showgirls, that movie.
I never saw that. I'm like woefully.
It's like one of my favorite movies.
Woefully disconnected from this community through film and stuff. But like fucking Dark Souls is a trans girly thing. That's like
I don't know what video games are.
See, that's oh fuck, we do.
I just watch Cary Grant movies. Like,
I can tell you all about the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. I can tell you all about the soul of Manus. I can tell you all about these things.
I've got Bringing Up Baby on Blu-ray. I just went gay all of a sudden.
I had kind of an epiphany about reading, because like I started reading gay romances before I realized I was bi or gender fluid. And I felt really guilty because I was like, I felt like I was exploiting something that I shouldn't have been exploiting, right? Because there's the whole like, you know, a lot of like that sort of romance is written
Fujoshi say
is written towards like cis women, right? So like I was just like, I'm one of those. And it was just about the time that I was starting to figure out like that like queer people like existed, because being raised Mormon sucked. But like And so I was like reading it, like, and my tastes haven't changed that much. I still, when I read romance, which I read quite a lot of, I still tend to go towards like men. And for a long time, I was just like, this is really weird because like
Cocks are hot.
Right.
You're very in this season.
And then I realized I was just like, oh no, it's a gender thing. It's not an attraction thing. It's like, I don't get to have that experience, at least not in my current body and configuration. So it was more of like a curiosity, like not even necessarily a curiosity. It was a way to satisfy that part of my weird gender shit without having to like get angsty about it, if that makes sense. And it's the same reason as like, as a writer, I also like to write romance. I tend to go towards male characters. So it's just like, oh no, it's a gender expression thing. Like the whole exploitation angle could be, you know, I'm sure there are plenty of arguments to be had about that, but that was kind of the thing that made my brain click and go, okay, so I'm not fucking somebody else over by enjoying this. I was just like, I had to kill the gender cop in my own brain, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is like, and I should have seen it coming because like growing up, like I really loved like books where like a woman pretends to be or like a girl pretends to be a boy to like become a knight and shit. And also Ranma 1/2 was like, if I could like, it's just hot and cold water. I would fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
I should have realized a lot sooner, but you know, again, the religious suppression, but yeah, so it shouldn't have been a surprise, but it was.
I remember
hearing,
I remember hearing about, sorry, we keep doing that to each other. I'm so sorry. I remember hearing about Ranma 1/2 and specifically avoiding it because I was like, oh, gender bending shit. That's going to make me feel stuff. Like I remember like there was like a feeling of like that being sort of titillating or like satisfying of something in me, but like being real fucking afraid of it. And so specifically like seeing the Ranma 1/2 DVD case at the Hollywood Video up the street from my house and like wanting so badly to pull the trigger on that, but like knowing that I wasn't ready or like couldn't do it at that point, you know?
Yeah, with me it was like there's the trope, I would say, of queer trans men realizing they are thus by reading and or writing /fic. Right, the Fujoshi to queer man pipeline basically. But I didn't really read like romance, especially between men or fanfic, until after I started transitioning, and I started reading it because like I was one of those like, okay, I'm straight, no, I'm bi, no, I'm a lesbian, no, I'm bi, no, I'm a lesbian. Like I was one of those people, and I was like, I don't like having sex with men. I can't look at penises. It's weird. I'll have sex with one. That's fine, but I don't want to look at it or really interact with it. Except when it's like in me, that's fine. But I don't want to like, there was like a lot of like anxiety. So I was like, am I into men again? I better test this. And so I read like romance and like /fic of dudes being like, okay, do I like this? Like,
that's so funny.
It was like research. And so, yeah, it's just like I know so many trans guys realize they are thus because they are really into like /fic and stuff. At least now.
It's now available.
Is that when you're reading Think of England?
Yes. And
nailed it.
all of the KJ Charles stuff. KJ Charles is like probably my favorite romance author.
What? The Magpie Lord?
Yeah, her.
Okay, I've read those. Those are good.
Yeah, I don't really like the Magpie Lord ones as much, but her one Think of England is really good. As well as I love the series that's like based off of Penny Dreadfuls. That one's really good. But yeah, like I read her stuff. Cat Sebastian, very good. And then I read Captive Prince and it ruined me. So
God, it's ruining.
So good. It's so good. When
so
they started selling
good.
merch, I've got an Adequate mug.
I'm so jealous.
And I've got a bracelet that says a kingdom or this on it, and it's a gold.
God,
right?
I'm jealous.
I know. I have brain worms because of Captive Prince.
Captive Prince is what got me writing / again. I wrote a lot of /
so good.
I wrote a lot of / as like in my early 20s when I was like in a phase of doing that, and then I like didn't for years and years, and then I read Captive Prince and it fucking unlocked something in my brain again, and I was like, all right.
That's why I started writing fanfic, was because of Captive Prince. I was like, I have these feelings and ideas and I have to get them out somehow.
Yep.
They'll make these two people kiss. You know?
No kiss.
That was a lot of the information seeking behavior in the Rothbauer paper as well from 2001, 2003 was the period studied. And a lot of it was people just hung out in fan sites of the things that they really liked, like X-Files and Buffy, and just talked about X-Files and Buffy all day. And we're like, this is how I find out. Yeah.
I probably would not have figured out I was queer if I had not been on LiveJournal.
Mine was Tumblr, and it was, I figured I was queer because of Tumblr, but then the trans thing was unfortunately because of Call Me By Your Name. Yeah.
Word.
Call Me By Your Name made me realize I was trans. But that's a good movie and a good book, and it's unfortunate about Armie Hammer.
I'm legitimately sitting here thinking about what it was like liking dudes that got me to thinking that I was queer and like being attracted to the other guy. Like, I don't know what like media or like where I was that kind of opened that up for me. I just kind of like accepted it as elemental about myself. And then
it was like a switch flipped.
Yeah. I was like,
went, I'm into this now.
I remember I was in like 6th grade and like another kid on the playground asked me like, so what are you gay? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. I think I like girls too. That's where that shit was for me. And then like the gender shit was just like it was in the air and I was breathing it all the time, but I didn't know what the fuck it was. And then it took Face App, it took a lot of experiences with, we'll call it boutique pornography, that sort of cracked that shit open and led me to where I am today. Yeah.
I'm queer because of Tumblr. Like I was on Tumblr in 2009, 2010, and it was in the air, and I learned about things like genderqueer and genderfuck and all that. And I was like, oh, well, I feel weird about my gender, and I'm not a girly girl, but and then I remember one night I went to bed, and in my head it was like a switch flipped, and it said, "You like girls," and I went, "No, I don't. Do I?" And then I went to a dance competition, and I remember sitting there in the audience because I did competitive dance, and I was just like sitting in the audience, and I saw like a girl like do the splits, and I was like, ah! And
yo,
I was like, oh shit,
yeah.
And then it took a while for that to. I remember my gender therapist was like, "It's impossible for you to be straight." I think I'm like, yeah, because I was like, oh no, if I'm a guy, am I straight now? And then I started liking dudes. I was like, oh okay,
oh thank God, yeah. I don't know.
It was me starting to like men again that made me realize I was a guy because I was like, this feels different than the times I liked men before.
Yes, yes, the liking of guys feeling different than the liking of girls, and that context changing again after my gender transition. That is a very interesting web of feelings that I don't know that I've fully parsed at this point.
They're like the same thing, like my gender and sexuality. Like I can't untangle them.
Yeah,
they're like just the same thing to me.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'm not a man. I'm a gay guy. You know.
I know that being into girls as a girl, like to me, rocks harder. Like I feel like I feel way cooler about it.
Yeah, I love being gay.
Yeah, being gay kicks ass.
It's fucking rad.
It kicks fucking ass, dude. I love like leather, and I love fucking I don't know, like Liza Minnelli. Like,
yeah. I love having the body that I have and being really tender in bed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being as big as I am and being like very tender. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of kicks ass. Where you at, Justin? What are you reading? You look absorbed.
I was just looking at my soundboard. Just seeing what I can throw in.
Trying to snipe the moment.
Trying to snipe something. Just see what. It's just, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
No, nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think to wrap up, one of the things that
this just turned into me and Audrey talking about our transitions.
It's pretty cool.
It's fucking rad,
which is a type of info seeking. This is how trans people figure this shit out as we talk to each other.
I think this is genuinely going to be helpful to somebody, if not a listener, than me.
Or I know like so many trans people, even if it's like a trans femme and a trans mass, like talking, even though our transition experiences are different, it's still like, oh, you went through this too, or oh, it's like this for you. Oh, it's like this for me instead.
Yeah,
like
so valuable.
I have shepherded so many a trans femme through the beginning of her transition. Because it's like, if I knew someone from my hometown or my area, I'm like the only trans person those people know. And so they reach out to me.
I love, this has happened to me a few times. I love it when somebody hits you up and goes, I think I'm a girl. And you're like, okay, all right, calm down. It's okay. Everyone, we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out together.
Were you going to say something, Sadie?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think in conclusion, librarians. So the reason I'm so into this topic is like I studied a lot of info seeking for my master's thesis, and like info seeking and question formation, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like in librarianship, when we think of information seeking, we think of, oh, a student or a patron has a research question and they're looking up information about it in the databases, TM, and here's the Boolean and here's how you do it. But there's other types of information and there's other types of sources that people might find information. We talked a little bit about this in the InfoShop episode, where there's like types of information that like you as a library worker should, even if like you can't provide that information, you should be able to, like, if a patron has a specific information need, you should be able to go, oh, we don't have that kind of resource here. However, here is where you should go, or here's what you should look up instead. Like the library databases don't have this, and you can't look this up on the library computers because of stupid reasons. But when you get home, if you have a computer, you could look this up, or there's this resource in town, or whatever. Like, it's important as library workers to be at least a kind of familiar with, like, okay, if someone has like a question about like sexuality and they're queer, like, where might you direct them? How do you help that kind of patron and information need? Yeah. Because people have information needs outside of a traditional library context, and sexual and gender information is just as important as someone writing a research paper.
Yeah. And I think the availability of that information through like literature and things like that is like, of course, one of the main things that the opposition wants to eliminate, because that's where we figure shit out, is through media and through
why do you think they're doing book bans?
Yeah, and talking to each other and forming community and deciding these things are like affirming that these things are true about ourselves, like these things that we feel like we are.
Didn't Elon buy Twitter because he was like, oh, my trans daughter is trans because she caught the woke mind virus off of Twitter.
Right. Good. I'm glad she did.
Yeah.
He should go after 4chan instead, if I'm being honest. You know?
Yeah.
If he wanted to nuke it.
So yeah.
But yeah.
I'm becoming an anti-vaxxer for the social contagion theory of transness. Like, no, there's no cure. We need herd immunity. Everyone needs to go meet a trans person. Yeah.
And make out with them.
The only way to make sure no one
out with me
transitions is that everyone transitions.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's that one Neil Gaiman short story.
And when everyone's queer, then no one will be.
I mean, isn't that the kind of angle of queer theory?
Kind of, yeah. It's anti-category, but I was just doing a reference to the movie The Incredibles by Pixar.
Oh,
where he turns everyone into a superhero.
But it's been a long time since I've seen it. Is he a little queer icon, the one who's the bad guy in that?
I'm sure someone wants to fuck him in a gay way.
I think he's a little queer coded, maybe.
He's a little queer coded.
One of those queer coded villains.
Yeah.
He looks like that Republican strategist who does all the polling.
Frank Luntz.
Yeah, he looks like Frank Luntz. Yeah.
He does look like Frank Luntz.
He looks exactly like Frank Luntz.
That's really fucked.
I've always just been like, who the fuck does he look like? It's just always sitting in the back of my head for years.
And then we figured it out. Proud of us.
Go team.
Go Team 6. Audrey, do you want to plug anything additional aside from your podcast?
Let me tell you about this. If you have information seeking needs and you are a queer person, head on over to rftb.me to access the Radio Free Tote Bag backlog, show about relationships, heartfelt good advice, as well as goofy japes. Go check it out, rftb.me or anywhere you find your podcast. Additionally, if you want to have some more talk between trans femmes, you can find that at Data Transfer, anywhere you find your podcasts. It is a Transfeminine reading of the Digimon Adventures animated series that I do with my lovely partner Corla, which I'm actually going to go record an episode of right after this. So that's going to have a very good energy, I think. So be on the lookout for that. Data Transfer, anywhere you find your podcasts. Oh, and at Odd on Bluesky and at RFTB Audrey on Twitter. Them's the plugs.
We've been on there on both of those shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really high on my episode, but I feel like it was a good episode.
Yeah. We loved it.
That's where the Pagumon thing came from.
That's where the Gabu Pog. Yeah. The
that
Gabu
one,
Pog
that's what it
emojis
was
from there.
Pagumon. I don't know fucking Digimon. But yeah, that was my episode.
Yeah. He's a good boy. I use that emoji fucking constantly.
I know you do.
I really was hoping that Squatch Pog would take off more, but people don't really seem to like him. But that's Sasquatch doing
Squatch Pog.
doing the. He's got his lips out. It's very funny.
It's in the Cryptozoology Museum.
Yeah.
In Portland, Maine.
Damn.
Yeah,
Check it out.
Yeah. It's the only reason to go there because I don't think I'm ever going back. So check out the Cryptozoology Museum.
Go check that out. I want to thank you guys for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I'd love anytime I get to talk about like violently queer shit. That's like my favorite topic.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now listen, you queer. Stop calling me a crypto Nazi. Let's calling names. You in your goddamn face, and you'll stay plastered.
Justin, I need to make you watch that. So, Audrey, if you could not tell, that was Gore Vidal.
Okay.
And William Buckley.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So there was, I forget what year it was, but there was like the presidential debates happening, and the news media decided, oh, what if before the actual real debates at conventions, we had Gore Vidal, who was a lefty Democrat person, and William Buckley, right-wing person. These are two intellectual titans.
Yale failure who wrote a book complaining about how the deacon at Yale's the official deacon wasn't a Christian enough for him.
And so they but he was like held up as like the like intellectual Republican icon, right? And so they would have debates before the real presidential debates and stuff. And the reason, and like our news media is the way it is now because of this, right? And there's a good documentary about this called Best of Enemies. And there's one of them that they like had the tapes destroyed and did not air, but someone preserved some of it somehow, where they're like arguing, and Gore Vidal calls William Buckley a crypto Nazi because he is. And Gore Vidal is a bitchy little bisexual queen, and we loved him. I love Gore Vidal. He's my favorite bad guy.
Every Gore Vidal clip I've ever seen, I'm just in love with the dude.
I love him. I was listening to a Gore Vidal audiobook when I had my car wreck. It was great. My head-on collision, that's how gay I am. And I was a dyke at the time, and I was listening to a Gore Vidal audiobook. I was bad at being a dyke. But William Buckley goes, "Listen here, you queer. You keep calling me a crypto Nazi, and I'll sock you in your goddamn face, and you'll stay plastered." Ooh. And Gore Vidal is just like laughing because he knows he's won now.
Yeah, he's just got him. He's just fucking nailed him.
And William Buckley was like, "You better have these destroyed." And they were like, the tapes were destroyed. It wasn't aired, but you can watch it on YouTube.
That kicks ass.
William Buckley calling Gore Vidal a queer. Listen here, you queer. In that like mid-Atlantic voice, right? Yeah, it's great.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's Justin tried getting the drop, but it's like they talk over each other so much that it's hard to.
Maybe with the power of AI, we can separate their two voices.
I mean, probably actually there is like an AI, like the same kind of tool that new Beatles song that helped isolate John Lennon's vocals from the rest of the track.
I keep hoping that acapellas and instrumentals are going to get more widely available with AI being able to separate those two.
Yeah, because that like Beatles one, it wasn't that like they took a John Lennon AI voice. It's just that like this already existing tool that helps separate the vocals from the rest of the track that was a little magnified with AI to help it a bit more.
That's what I'm saying. I want to be able to make more Chocolate Rain edits, and I need more instrumentals available from various songs that don't have instrumental versions released.
Exactly. Yeah. This is like the actual good use of like that kind of
That's art.
Technology.
That's the art, not the generative AI shit. That's the art, is when you can use tools like that to make audio more usable and then make tracks out of them.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yep. All right. I'm going to cut it here. Thanks, Audrey, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Good night.